Hi, my name is Kimberly from the Portland Writing Center. Today I'm going to go over the rules of capitalization. On the screen here, I've narrowed it down to 10 rules. There are more than 10, but just for time's sake, we're only going to go over these today. I know capitalization can seem a little confusing at times, but once you learn the rules or are reminded of them, they're quite simple to follow. Rule number 1 is to capitalize people's names and initials. This is a rule that we all know. You can see some examples listed below. Rule number 2 is to capitalize the first word of a direct quotation if it begins a complete sentence. In a divided quotation, do not capitalize the first word of the second part unless it starts a new sentence. And you can see an example of that in letter B. Rule number 3, capitalize the first word, the last word, and all other important words in a title. Typically, this does not include articles, conjunctions, prepositions, etc. Rule number 4, when talking about specific geographical names or locations, capitalize each word, except articles and prepositions. This could include specific cities, states, countries, buildings, landmarks, etc. And you can see a few examples listed below. Rule number 5, capitalize all important words in the names of organizations, institutions, businesses, brands, and companies. You can see a couple of examples right below that. Rule number 6 is to capitalize the names of all 7 days of the week, all 12 months of the year, and all holidays, such as Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, etc. Rule number 7 is a little different because it says something that you should not capitalize, and that is the names of seasons. So summer, winter, fall, spring do not need to be capitalized. Same for directions, such as north, south, east, and west. Those do not need to be capitalized. Rule number 8, capitalize the names of languages, religions, religious groups, specific people groups, nationalities, etc. And here's a whole list below of what that could include. Rule number 9, capitalize specific historical battles, wars, documents, etc. And last, rule number 10, capitalize titles and abbreviations of titles that are used before names. This could also include family relationships only when they're used as names or before names. So you can see in the examples below what I mean by that. Professor Smith. Professor is technically their title, so you would capitalize that in that case, since it is directly attached to their name. However, in example B, you can see an example of where you would not capitalize professor. The professor of the class is very smart. It's not connected directly to a name, so in that case, it's not a title and it would not be capitalized. Same with family relationships, like in example D and E. So hopefully that gives a little clarity about capitalization rules. Thank you for listening and hope to see you again soon.